Most people don't know what it means to be an American. It means smoking the finest tobacco with only the finest American accessories. Getting arrested for doing drugs much safer than the ones legally prescribed. Drinking only the finest American beverages. Getting off to the tastiest American desires. Protecting your life, liberty, but most importantly, your property. It's not easy being an American. Sometimes you make mistakes. But only the best Americans know how to bounce back. Be an American today. No border crossings allowed. Hello, Internet. So today we are going to be going on r/AskUS, and I'm not gonna lie, guys, this is one of the most astroturfed subreddits I have ever been on, and it isn't even close. And this subreddit has been recommended all throughout my channel's history, so I can't wait to finally get to it. But if you like what I do here, like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want to support my channel so that we can get more costumes and just do bigger skits essentially, become a YouTube member or join the Patreon. And let's get right to the posts. Alrighty, here we are. I hope you guys are liking the camera, by the way. I'm probably not going to do it every time, but I guess I'm just in that mood. But here we are on r/AskUS. And there are 51,000 members, as you can see right here on, my mouse, as you can see right here on the top of the subreddit, and 2,000 are online. Very interesting. That's a lot more than is usually online, but as you can see, top of this month, 90,000 upvotes, and the size of this community is tiny. Like, we've seen so many other communities that have way more people on them, and they don't have anywhere near this type of engagement. 66,000, 60,000, 58,000, 47,000, 41,000, 37,000. Like, this is like a top subreddit. These are numbers that only top subreddits hit. So why are there so many, except it's not even a top 1% subreddit? Like, there's something very, very fishy going on, and I think we all know what it is. It's obviously botting. But I just wanted to point that out. So ask questions about all topics around the US. And of course, what they mean by that is just ask us dumbass questions to make us look like idiots and make them all political, like nothing else. There's no questions about like geography or what is there to do here. It's all just politics, as you can see. We were just scrolling. I mean, we even saw Hitler in there, you know? All right, so this is the first post we're going to be looking at today, and it was the one I made in my YouTube posts. But why is the right way more violent than the left? 7,000 upvotes, and it says estimated number of ideologically motivated mass shootings 2005 to 2024, and apparently it's 15-1. And as you can see, there's already 7,000 upvotes on this post, even though it's only 4 hours ago. So how is it getting this type of engagement? I don't understand at all. Clearly these numbers aren't organic, but let's address the post at hand. So we have the right wing on the left and the left wing on the right, so that's cool. But how did we get to this 15-1 number? And why are we basing the violence only on mass shootings? But even if we do just look at mass shootings, I can think of two right off the back that happened in between 2005 and 2024, and one of those being the baseball shooting with the senators, Republican senators or whatever, and the second being the Audrey Hall one, or Hale, I think, where she shot up the Christian school, and her entire manifesto had so much politically and ideologically charged language. I don't know which one they're counting here, but this simply just can't be true. I'm sure my commenters can draw up a long list, but this question doesn't even tie in with the premise that they're trying to make. And like I said, I don't see any data points here, and I clicked on this link too, and it had nothing that had anything to do with these numbers. So this is literally just propaganda that we're looking at, because we're not even including like assault, arson, any of the other things that are definitely politically motivated, especially during like 2020. So it's, I just, how do you even approach something like this with like a sensible mind? Like, I'm fine talking about this with someone else, but when you just present this information, it's like, there's no even point discussing it. And that's one of the funny things about Reddit. They give you a lot of ways to present your argument. You can post links, pictures, long ass text, and then you get shit like this, and then people eat it up. All right, this post was 6 days ago, and it got 90,000 upvotes, which is absolutely insane. And it says, I circled Donald Trump's name where it appears on Epstein's flight list. MAGA, do you care? And I can't believe this got 90,000. I mean, half of them, or even probably more, are probably bots. But it's Little St. James Island. That is the island that Epstein, that we all know had all of the diddling going on, the Diddy activity, you know? And as far as we know, unless that gets released, Donald Trump's name has not been yet cited to be going to Little St. James. And in fact, I don't think Donald Trump and Epstein were even in contact or, you know, were friends by the time that any of this stuff happened. Like, I think Epstein made some comments about someone's daughter, and then Trump really didn't like that, so he banned him from Mar-a-Lago. So it's not like this is just like the most concrete evidence ever for Trump going to that island. In fact, none of that evidence has actually been presented yet, which is why nobody cares. So no, I guess we don't care at this point. But yeah, they're not even hiding it with the astroturfing at this point. 6 and 90, that's what, like 10,000, more than 10,000, no, that's exactly 15,000 upvotes per day, which is crazy. Is it really true MAGA is trying to scrub this photo from Reddit? Why would you unsleep Dementia Dawn? Dude, are we serious? You guys chose to run Joe Biden, and now you're attacking Trump for being sleepy. Like, the dude has just been going non-stop, and he is still going. Like, he doesn't have an off button or something. And this was 5 days ago, and it still has 66,000 upvotes. It's just insane. You ever fuck 360 million people at once? It's exhausting. Oh, the classic Reddit snark. I love it. President Donald Trump's response when asked about due process for citizens and non-citizens after being questioned on the Fifth Amendment and his duty to uphold the Constitution. I don't know. How is MAGA going to spin this one? And I actually saw a great comment about due process on Asmongold's channel. Let me go to it real quick. It's so good that I have to go to it and read it for you guys. All right, so here it is. It's on the CNN crash out video. Lawyer here. When I hear people scream about due process, I want to tear my hair out. Due process is an administrative matter that can simply be, we sent you a letter which said you could submit a reply. Sent it. That's it. Not sent and waited for a reply. Not sent and then gave a hearing. Immigration issues have a very low amount of due process generally, and when there is expedited removal, even that disappears. The hearings people keep bringing up are usually in cases where someone claimed asylum, and most of those cases, 90% plus people don't show up. Hearings are also used when someone commits additional crimes, doesn't matter what type, but they are only required if we want to imprison someone here for those crimes or seek justice in some way for the victims, not if we want to send them back to their home. Cool. So yeah, if there are any lawyers in chat that don't agree with that in any way, please say it and I'll probably pin you just for even more clarification, but that seems pretty legit. I don't know why we would run someone through years of due process or years of the process to essentially just send them out anyway. They shouldn't be here. And that's probably what he should have said. I mean, he's not a judge either. Not that our Supreme Court judges are, are all-stars right now. It's actually fucking ridiculous how I think we had to bring someone back who had MS-13 fucking gang tattoos. Like, we know this person isn't illegal. We know he was gang affiliated. Why must we do any extra? They can go back with their families. And see, this seems a lot more likely. This is 2 hours ago, and this is 262 upvotes, which definitely falls more along the lines of 51,000 members. But anyway, please, right wing of politics, explain to me like I'm 5 why you're okay with this. Detailed army plans for a potential military parade on President Donald Trump's birthday in June call for more than 6,600 soldiers, at least 150 vehicles, 50 helicopters, 7 bands, and possibly a couple thousand civilians, the Associated Press has learned. We were told kids' cancer research was a waste of money, but $92 million for a military birthday parade for a draft dodger isn't. And yes, let's leave out all the context. So the money that was taken away, I think primarily was for administrative costs, which are very heavily bloated if you know anything about academia. And I like how the left completely flips on the draft dodger thing every single time when it's for the Vietnam War. Like, I thought you people were in favor of dodging the draft because it was a senseless war. What happened? I guess our principles don't matter anymore, but anyway. I mean, personally, I think this is really dumb if it does, cost a lot of money to do this. And I don't think I've ever seen this happen before, so it's kind of like, a head scratcher moment. I don't know. Maybe this isn't even true. It is the AP after all. But still, 21 hours ago, and this got 32,000 upvotes after less than a day. How does this happen? But yeah, if this happened, it's dumb. We shouldn't do it. But, you know, it's probably not the worst thing we've wasted our money on. At least it's going to an American citizen, you know? Am I the only one who thinks the Trump earshot was a staged political stunt to humanize him before the election? Okay, bear with me. I know this sounds like a conspiracy theory, but the more I think about it, the more it doesn't sit right with me. Let's look at the facts. The timing, impeccable. Right when his campaign was floundering in terms of public sympathy and momentum, he suddenly becomes a survivor of a failed assassination attempt. Cue media frenzy, rally cries, and instant victim turned hero energy. Or his chances were looking good before, and before the elections could even occur, someone tried to take him out. I mean, isn't that an even more logical Occam's razor type situation to apply to this? The injury, his ear, not lethal, not life-threatening, but just enough to be dramatic. It leaves a visible mark without disabling him. The perfect setup for a comeback photo op. And this is so funny because we all know Redditors are primarily left-wing, which means they don't know basically anything about guns. But I watched all the gun channels basically try to recreate the shot, and this is insanity. How I guess you can say there was a fake bullet, but we even saw the bullet flying through the air in one of the craziest photos of all time. So I don't know where they're... It's just not even worth addressing, to be honest. The effect. People who previously saw him as reckless or power-hungry are suddenly seeing his human side. A wounded man, supposedly targeted just for telling the truth. It reframes him as the underdog, even a martyr. And historically, those narratives win elections. You know, you guys are the only ones who can martyr him. He can't martyr himself. If he tries to act like he's just a victim all the time, he'll look weak and look like an idiot. But you guys have attacked him non-stop for about 8 years. And now, I think there was 2 assassination attempts against him. So whether you believe it or not, of course he's gonna look like a martyr. And you know what? I was a little cautious about voting for him, even the second time around. But with all the government reform, I love seeing it. I don't care how messy it gets. Well, I guess I do to some extent. But just seeing the complete reconstruction and everything that Doja's doing with looking at how we're just completely wasting money. I don't know why this wasn't done before. Like, I think he was the only one who would push this hard to actually allow this. And I think a lot of the time, the reason that it feels like we don't get anything done is because the system is so goddamn bloated. Like, why do we need 20 different processes to do something that is basically common sense? And I'm glad that we're actually getting more, you know, I hate to say it, authoritarian in this sense, because it's actually getting stuff done at the end of the day. Now, you may not like everything that gets done, and I certainly don't like every single thing that gets done, but I definitely think it's a better direction for actually allowing, you know, things to work and to see if they fail a lot quicker instead of just, I guess, stagnating into death. But the rollout, way too polished, speeches, videos, statements, all ready to go like it was part of the campaign strategy. There wasn't panic, there was production. I don't even know how to address this one because I think if something were to happen like this, that you don't even need to do anything. Like, the public would already push so hard for all of this, and he's a billionaire. He can basically have anything that he wants done within a week's time span, if not even sooner. So I think we're really reaching for this one. This feels like a play right out of the authoritarian PR handbook. Create chaos, survive it publicly, and watch your approval ratings climb. Even though his approval ratings still, I haven't checked them in a while, but when I initially saw them, they weren't like the best, even 2 months out. So we've seen this tactic before. They were good for Trump, but not like in general. It's manipulative, emotional propaganda masked as patriotism. I'm not saying it definitely was staged, but I'm saying it's a hell of a lot more convenient than it is convincing. Oh, curious if anyone else has this gut reaction or if I'm on alone on this hill. 42,000 upvotes again in 3 days, which is still crazy. The only weird thing about it is how self-possessed he was to do that fist bump that looked great on campaign posters. He's been an entertainer his entire life, basically. I mean, he knew he was alive. He knew that things were probably taken care of. I mean, if someone had like a machine gun, he wasn't gonna survive anyway if they just started taking out all the agents. So, you know, he just did what an entertainer would do. in my opinion. Usually violence makes people kind of confused and trying to figure out what just happened, not posing. Like I said, we have a very atypical candidate right in front of us. Someone I don't really expect anything normal to happen with Trump. And when something normal does happen, I am actually surprised. But anyway, let's move on. This is just conspiracy posting. Hey MAGA, are you sure y'all want the Department of Education to be eliminated? Musk posting a meme that misspells department while celebrating the supposed death of the Department of Education kind of says it all. And I think that was part of the meme. I think most people understand that, department has a T at the end of it. So again, it's just liberals not understanding what a joke is. Is it fair to compare MAGA to the Nazis? The press is the enemy of the people. The press is the enemy of the people. Why can't we criticize the press, especially when they constantly put out bullshit and, try to shift the narrative however they want, both left and right? I don't think it does anyone any good except for the companies themselves getting more money from the clicks. Used racism to rise to power. Used racism to rise to power. Yeah, because Democrats don't use any type of racial advantages to any other groups, And they certainly don't demonize the majority population of the country constantly in the media and just in general. Like I have an entire video dedicated to just clip after clip after clip, 5 minutes straight of people talking really poorly about white people. And you shouldn't talk poorly about anyone, keep in mind. I don't care what group struggles they have or what group struggles you think they have. Talking poorly about them isn't actually going to solve them in any type of way. Proposed mass deportations, even though Obama, deported more people than Trump's on both of his terms so far. Or at least in his first term. I'm going to have to check for his second one. But yeah, we'll see, I guess. Anti-Jew fascist, anti-Muslim nationalist. When has Trump talked about Muslims? I think he solely just talks about terrorist organizations, ones that are deemed terrorists by, people who aren't him, like way before he ever became president. So I still don't know where this rhetoric isn't this rhetoric old? He even said he wanted to help rebuild Gaza. He's doing, and a lot of people disagreed with him on that too. So he's doing a lot more for that region than anyone actually asked for. But anyway, promise to make Germany great again. Promise to make America great again. Oh, that's terrific, because no other leader says that they want to make the country better than what it was before. This is so fucking stupid. Blames Jews for Germany's problems, blames immigrants for America's problems. I like how they don't add illegal at all, they just say immigrants, because I am an immigrant and I haven't heard him talk about me specifically or my immigrant status at all, because I'm legal. In fact, I became a naturalized citizen when I was 1 year old, so political rallies year round. Does this all of a sudden make you a Nazi? I don't understand. Rule of law suspended, rule of law ignored and obstructed. Well, I guess when your laws say that it doesn't matter if you're a citizen or not, if you have a, kid born here, they become a citizen. That's a shit law. I'm sorry, but if this is how we interpret laws, maybe we need to change that. Courts packed with extremist judges, even though those judges are going against a lot of the will of the American people right now, and people aren't liking that. And in fact, the Supreme Court has been very, very mixed in the opinions of the things that they've been doing. So this is, again, just a non-statement. Secret police arrest enemies of the state. Secret police arrest civilians protesting. Ah, yes, protesting, like arson. Yeah, okay. Again, we're just using euphemisms to cover up what is actually happening in reality. Armed forces invade opposition territory. Armed forces invade blue states uninvited. I don't even know what they're talking about here, but I'll give them that. I have no idea what they're talking about. I won't give them that. I don't know what they're talking about, so I don't even know if they're right or wrong. 60,000 upvotes in 14 days. Again, I don't know how we're getting these numbers. What MAGA has done is made me understand how people can actually become Nazis, because everybody who's supporting Trump is a Nazi now. Again, something I couldn't even comprehend before Make America or MAGA, whatever. Again, I probably only scratched the surface with how much you can tear this stupid fucking chart apart, but let's move on. We only have a few more left. Why does nobody care that the Trump admin is defying a 9-0 Supreme Court ruling regarding the facilitating of the return of Abrego Garcia? Oh, this is the MS-13 gang member, cool. There's no mass protests, Democrats in Congress aren't saying much because if they said something they'd look like retards. The military, which is sworn to protect the Constitution, is silent. The news media is covering it, but it's just one more story, not a major crossing the Rubicon event for them. Trump said they would bring him back if the Supreme Court told him to do so, but then the DOJ said the court has no authority to require the US government to negotiate his return with El Salvador, and they would bring him in only if he showed up at the border. 24,000 upvotes. Again, I don't know how this is even a story. Like I said, due process should only apply to citizens. Why can you walk in the country with no due process but we have to go through all these steps to get you out? And even then, like that lawyer said, we do due process, except it's way more lenient than what these people make it out to be. But anyway, we do have one more. Conservatives/MAGA. Why do you still want us lefties in your life so much? Seriously, if we really are the baby-killing, child-grooming, illegal-loving, anti-American, hysterical reprobates that you like to say we are, why do you want anything to do with us? Why is it such a big deal to you when you get cut off by your lefty friends? I mean, I guess it isn't that big of a deal. It's just like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? It's not that deep, bro. If you really believe the things you say about us, it seems like you should be the ones going no contact. If I genuinely believe that someone in my life had killed a child or supported/participated in the grooming of one, I would never speak to them again. Unrelated, but I'm also not Catholic anymore, so what gives? What the fuck? Super unrelated. But if you think Donald Trump is literally Hitler and you think all of us are literally Nazis, I'll turn it back on you. Why are you only protesting and shouting at us? Isn't this a much more dire issue? Like, why aren't you doing more? If we're literally, the modern day Nazi Germany right now, and we're all of a sudden like executing immigrants who did nothing wrong, then is this really your response? Is this really the most effort you're gonna give to save America? Like, give me a fucking break. But anyway, guys, I hope you liked the video. Thank you so much to all of my patrons. I love you all. And if you guys have any more suggestions, please leave it down in the comments, and I read a lot of them. So give me your best, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace.